You're going to have a different worldview if you have autoimmune disease, or if you're paralyzed, or if you have schizophrenia. What we carry with us is also part of us. Hello everyone, and welcome to my part 2 on how to create a character. If you haven't seen the first video, you can check it out here. As always, everything in this series will be a part of my character sheet, which if you'd like to follow along, you can download in the free link below. This is part of something I'm calling the blank page protocol. It's going to be a series of tools and tutorials for writers to help them get from a blank page to a completed project. Let's go. So here you can see the character sheet. This week we're going to go through their essence. The two main parts of an essence are their physical attributes and their metaphysical vibe. So first, physical attributes. Now there are two parts to this. We have their external physical attributes, that is, the attributes that are noticeable from the outside. And then we have their internal attributes, attributes that are known only to the character unless you were to ask them. So first, outward physical attributes and appearance. This is pretty straightforward. It's a snapshot photograph in a way of a character, almost anatomical. You just want to give us a sense of their height, their weight, their build, their gait, all of that stuff. But you can really get specific with this, and I encourage you to do so where possible. Something else I'm going to encourage you to do, and you might already be doing it, is as you start to think of examples, the best example you can draw on is actually yourself. Because there's one character you know better than anyone, and that's you. So when you just look at yourself in a photograph, how do you appear? The second part of physicality is the character's physical experience of him or herself. So, for example, I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3", 200 and blah, blah, blah pounds. And my own personal physical experience of myself is something of density, of heaviness. I have bad knees. I have thick thighs. I have dense bones. I'm large and kind of lumbering. I don't feel very fleet. I can't jump over 6 inches, even though it looks like I should be able to dunk a basketball. I cannot dunk a basketball. I have a sensitive stomach. It's easy for me to get kind of nauseous. I'll spare you with the gory details of what it's like to be a 42-year-old man. But my point is that I can close my eyes and there's something happening in my body that is an experience that's unique to me. That is what you also want to capture in this physical category for your character. What is it just like to be in their body? So in the spirit of really writing embodied characters, I've also added this very important caveat to this category called ailments. There are very few, if any, people beyond the young who are living their life without some sort of physical or mental or other ailment. And these ailments, these scars, these diseases, they affect who we are and how we interact with the world. You're going to have a different worldview if you have autoimmune disease, or if you're paralyzed, or if you have schizophrenia. What we carry with us is also part of us. So it's really important to think, how is my character a little bit broken? How do they deviate from some sort of pristine level of health? So the most classic example that I'd like to use for this category is Richard III as portrayed by William Shakespeare. Richard III in that play is a hunchback. He has a withered arm. He walks with a limp. He claims that he was born prematurely and that he's always been deformed. And of course, he is evil, calculating, Machiavellian. The caveat to this example is that there was a general medieval Renaissance belief that how you appeared physically correlated with who you were morally. That's not how we as a world think of disability anymore. But it's a good example because Richard III desires power and revenge on the world, precisely because of the raw hand that he felt he was dealt. So the next section is called the Metaphysical Vibe. Maybe that's a little too fancy. Just think of vibe. When we say don't judge a book by its cover, this category is the cover. Whoever you are, when you walk into a room, other human beings are going to form an impression of you. Whether it's accurate or not, if I didn't know who this character was and I saw them on the street, what would I think of them? This category is kind of important for screenplays, because screenplays are literally about photographic first impressions of characters. So a great example I think of is actually Christopher Nolan's description of his character Dom Cobb in the movie Inception. Here's a page from the script. He just calls Dom Cobb, quote, handsome and tailored. Tailored specifically is such a great word. That word connotes a professional who is successful and wealthy enough to buy bespoke suits, and it gives off the vibe of a certain kind of man. Let's go back to the top here of this sheet, and I want to point out this other phrase I put in, which is align and contrast. So I've already been alluding to this with our two examples, but someone's physicality and their vibe may or may not align with who they actually are inside. So with the example of Richard III, we actually have alignment according to Renaissance ideas of morality. He is, again, their words, deformed, and that does align with his deformed morality. In our second example of Dom Cobb, we have someone who is handsome and fit and tailored and successful. But as you watch the movie, you come to understand that he's actually a very damaged person, and that damage actually causes him to act in very reckless ways, kind of the opposite of a professional, put-together professional that you think he is. So just because you set up a character's physicality and their general vibe in a certain way doesn't mean it needs to be aligned. And the deeper level in all this is that sometimes their physicality and vibe might align with who they are at the beginning, but by the end, they become something quite different. That's it for this week. If you like this content, please do subscribe. Please do download the free sheets to fill out on your own. And I hope you're getting something from these, and I'll see you next time.